society perspective. How do we do this as a society to actually eradicate anti-Semitism? And I think that is the larger question, rather than isolated on the FBI.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you all for being here. Ms. Solomon, I want to be sure I understand your testimony. Did I understand you to testify that anti-Semitism is worse under the Trump administration?
Senator, thank you for your question.
You don't have to thank me. Okay. Your best thanks is to answer.
Okay, well, I'll tell you that anti-Semitism has been rising, especially since the 2017
but has the Trump
Charlottesville
administration
attack.
caused that? Is that your testimony?
I wouldn't say the Trump administration has caused anti-Semitism. Has there been an increase since Trump has entered office? Yes.
Do you see a causal connection there?
Yes.
Why?
Trump has highlighted and platformed neo-Nazis and white supremacists.
Okay. Mr. I can't see that far.
Racklin.
Mr. Racklin, I understood you to say that in answer to Senator Durbin's question, the spending reductions, reducing the federal budget would increase anti-Semitism. Isn't that what you said?
No, I did not. I said that the constant threats to cut money to the Office for Civil Rights and the Department of Education prevents the federal government from adequately investigating anti-Semitism and other hate crimes on college campuses.
So you think one way to stop anti-Semitism is to give people more money? Is that right?
I think one of the ways is to actually fund people that are actually designed to investigate anti-Semitism on college campuses.
What's there to investigate? We see it.
We see
We
it,
saw
but just
it. Did you watch television? Did you see what happened at Columbia?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it was clear to me that the administration at Columbia and most members of the faculty believed passionately in diversity, equity, inclusion, and the right to hurt Jews. That's what I saw. Isn't that what you saw?
I saw.
Isn't that what you saw?
I saw protesters against the war in Gaza and them using some anti-Semitic slogans and thoughts. I would say, however, that it's hard. I would say,
isn't that
however,
what you're telling me? That's not what you saw. Now, don't get off the subject on me now. You're telling me that's not what you saw.
I'm telling you that it is difficult for the federal government to adequately address the issue of anti-Semitism.
Are you telling me the Columbia administration and the faculty was supportive of the Jewish community?
I think that they are trying to
You need to
find
stop dipping into your ketamine stash.
into what? Excuse me?
Now, if we're going to solve this problem, we need to talk about it. And it wasn't just at Columbia. It was at Berkeley. It was at UCLA. It was at Barnard. And Columbia has a history of discriminating against Jewish people. They used to refuse to let Jewish students come to their university. Now, you can try to bubble wrap this, but that's what I saw. If you want to stop a lot of the anti-Semitism, maybe we need to stop teaching kids to be anti-Semitic.
Sir, I would relish that opportunity.
Let me ask you a question, Ms.
Let's dive into the chapters. Introduction. Is anti-Semitism increasing under political leadership, funding, hate crimes and federal responsibility, Columbia University, and the battle over DEI, ideological indoctrination and campus radicalization, the path forward, compassion without hate, and finally, conclusion, a society at a crossroads. In the heart of America's most prestigious institutions, a storm is brewing. Anti-Semitic rhetoric, campus protests, and explosive political debates are no longer isolated incidents. They are symptoms of a deeper, more troubling ideological divide. Today, we break down the most pivotal moments from a fiery Senate hearing that pulled no punches. With testimonies from students, activists, and senators alike, the question isn't just what's happening on college campuses, but what will we do about it? The hearing began with a pointed question. Has anti-Semitism worsened under the Trump administration? Testimony revealed a sharp increase in hate crimes dating back to 2017. The link? Political rhetoric and the normalization of extremist ideologies. Witnesses cited the elevation of neo-Nazis and white supremacists into public discourse, suggesting that leadership can either inflame or help dismantle prejudice. But is the rise in anti-Semitism purely political, or is there more at play? As the discussion shifted, so did the focus toward the role of federal funding. Witnesses warned that constant threats to cut budgets for the Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights leave campuses vulnerable. Without investigators, hate crimes and bias incidents go unchecked. But critics pushed back, arguing that more funding isn't the answer when the issue is ideology. Can bureaucracy fight bigotry, or are we just throwing money at a moral crisis? The conversation took a darker turn as Columbia University came under fire. Senator Kennedy didn't mince words, accusing the administration of hiding behind diversity, equity, and inclusion while tolerating hate. He cited a long-standing history of Jewish exclusion and challenged panelists to admit what many believe is a growing trend, that DEI, when misapplied, can be weaponized against the very communities it claims to protect. This isn't just a policy issue, it's about what kind of values our academic institutions are promoting. Miss Gove, a young author and campus activist, delivered a powerful statement. She described a culture where Marxist frameworks dominate the classroom, where students are taught that the political is personal, and where nuance is sacrificed in favor of binary ideological narratives. Her warning was clear. Ideological indoctrination is breeding radicalization, and without acknowledging this, de-radicalization will remain impossible. But perhaps her most poignant point was this. Can you feel compassion for Palestinians without hating Jews? Asked if one can feel compassion for the Palestinian people without harboring hate toward Jews, Ms. Gove's answer was unequivocal. Absolutely. She urged leaders to distinguish between legitimate empathy and dangerous ideology. She called for prayers for both Jews and Palestinians and condemned leaders who use their people as pawns for political gain.
Ask you a question, Ms. Kohab, did I say that right?
Kohav.
Do you think it's possible to feel compassion for the Palestinian people without hating Jews?
Absolutely.
Would you elaborate on that? Because it looks to me like many of our Ivy League universities, they weren't the only ones. Some universities handled it well. Vanderbilt, University of Chicago, Tulane. But it looks like the administration was teaching kids you got to pick a side. Mm-hmm. You either have to hate Jews or you have to be for Hamas. You can't be. There's no middle ground. Tell me what you saw. You've written a book about it. Maybe Mr. Rockland ought to read it.
Just because we are testifying, I wrote a chapter in the anthology Young Zionist Voices about what's happening on college campuses, and my book is coming soon, so look out for that.
Good plug, but
so let me answer your question.
Can you feel compassion for the Palestinian people and not hate Jews?
Absolutely. I think that what I've seen on college campuses is a pushing of a Marxist framing of the way that you see the world. And this is not only in liberal studies departments. I've taken dance classes, I've taken creative writing classes, where your final project is literally called The Political is Personal. And what they're teaching you on college campuses is that the political is personal and that everything should be personalized. And there's a global north, a global south, a global right, and a global wrong. And the issue with college campuses and what's happening right now in the United States is that we're allowing ideology to drive violence. A society that says that you can commit violent acts based on your ideology because your ideology is correct is a society that's eroding, and that's what I see on college campuses. Now, you asked if I could feel Palestinian peoplehood, right? If I could feel compassion for the Palestinian people. Absolutely. And every night when I go to bed, yes, I pray for the Jewish people, but I also pray for the Palestinian people, for God to send them leaders that actually care more about their safety. Leaders that put their people's safety in order to propel an ideology at risk aren't leaders. If you look at Hamas, they tout what happened after October 7th up until this day as a victory. How can you lie in rubble after thousands of your people have died and call that a victory? So what I see that has to happen on college campuses is de-radicalization. Until you admit that there's a radical ideology happening on a college campus, you cannot fight it. You cannot fight it.
Senator Ronald, hey, I know there's a lot of strong feelings in here. We all have them, but each member only has 5 minutes, and it just takes time away from their 5 minutes if you really want to get all these facts out. Ms. Hirano.